A week before my wedding, Daniel sent me a text. "Maybe we're moving too fast. Let's slow things down." I work in supply chain management. My entire job is predicting problems before they happen and solving them before they cost anyone anything. I run million-dollar shipments, I coordinate hundreds of moving parts, and I don't let chaos win. Our wedding was the biggest project I had ever managed. I had spreadsheets, contracts, and payment schedules mapped out to the hour. 200 guests were coming. The venue, a converted vineyard an hour outside the city, was paid in full. The caterer, the string quartet, and the open bar were locked in with non-refundable deposits. Everything was ready. But Daniel wasn't like me. He was a feelings person. He cared about the way the string lights looked, whether the cake matched his Pinterest board, and how everything would photograph for his page. I handled the boring stuff: contracts, vendors, timelines, money. We were supposed to be partners. I was the architect, he was the face of the day, but somewhere along the way he started treating me more like his assistant than his fiancée. And the problem was never my spreadsheets. It was his character. Our first real crack appeared a month earlier, over the prenuptial agreement his mother hated. His best friend Marcus, who had walked out of 2 marriages himself, told Daniel that prenups weren't romantic, that a man who truly loved someone wouldn't ask his partner to sign away her future. Daniel had agreed to sign it back in the spring. Now, suddenly, he wasn't so sure. It was a Saturday morning, exactly 7 days before the ceremony. I was on the phone with the florist confirming the peony order when Daniel's text came through. "Can we talk? I'm feeling overwhelmed. Maybe we should slow down." My brain did what it always does. It audited the facts. Every deposit was paid. Every flight was booked. This wasn't cold feet. This was a strategy. Daniel was trying to manufacture a crisis to pressure me into tearing up that prenup. He wanted me to panic, to fold, to hand him everything I'd built just to save face in front of 200 guests. It was the most calculated thing I had ever watched someone do to me. He was holding our future hostage. I stayed calm. This wasn't something to cry about. It was something to solve. I texted back 2 words: "Good idea." Then I turned my phone off. I knew he'd flood my inbox with messages, and I had zero interest in reading a single one. I canceled the wedding project in my head and opened a new one instead: Operation Freedom. I opened my laptop and renamed the wedding spreadsheet. It no longer read Aisha and Daniel Vineyard Wedding. It now read Aisha's Freedom Party. Within 24 hours, I had rebuilt the entire event. I called the venue manager, a woman named Renata, and explained everything. The wedding was off, but the party was still happening. Same venue, same guest list, no vows, no first dance, no slow songs, just loud, unapologetic music. I called the DJ and the caterer, and both were thrilled to still get paid for a night of celebration instead of ceremony. Then I designed a new invitation with a broken chain graphic across the front. It read, "You were invited to witness a marriage. Now you're invited to witness the end of a mistake. The wedding is canceled, but the party isn't. Come celebrate freedom with Aisha." I sent it to all 200 guests, including Daniel's parents and every single one of his groomsmen. Only then did I turn my phone back on. It was flooded with missed calls and furious texts. He kept asking, "What do you mean, good idea?" I answered exactly once, attaching the new invitation and telling him he was welcome to come, though he probably wouldn't love the theme. His week leading up to that party was reportedly miserable. Mine was the most peaceful week of my year. I didn't argue with him. I didn't explain myself. I gave him nothing to negotiate with, nothing to manipulate, nothing to twist. He just had to sit there and watch his plan collapse in real time. Friends told me he went from shocked to humiliated to furious in the span of a few days. He tried telling people I was the one who panicked and pulled the plug, but the invitation made that story impossible to sell. The timeline was airtight. I agreed to slow down. He was the one who spiraled. He wanted me to beg him to stay. He underestimated me completely. The night of the party arrived. I got my nails done, had my hair blown out, and felt lighter than I had in months. I wore a bold red dress, not the white gown hanging untouched in my closet. The venue looked incredible. The staff already knew the whole story and leaned into it. The lighting was warm and gold. The tables were arranged for conversation instead of formality, and the bar was fully stocked. The DJ opened with upbeat funk instead of a processional. Instead of a wedding cake, we had a towering chocolate fountain surrounded by pastries. A sign at the entrance read, "No gifts, please. Your friendship is the only present Aisha needs as she begins her next chapter. Guests started arriving around 7. There was confusion, curiosity, a little second-hand embarrassment, and then genuine joy. I greeted every single person with a real smile and a warm hug. I wasn't sad. I was free, and my energy that night proved it. A few drinks in, the awkwardness melted completely, and the party turned into an actual celebration. Friends hugged me and told me I'd made the right call. Even some of his own relatives quietly admitted they never fully trusted him. At 8:30 p.m., Daniel made his entrance. He'd shown up in a crisp white suit, clearly trying to play the wounded groom for sympathy. What he walked into instead was a room full of laughing people, clinking glasses, and a giant sign above the DJ booth that read Freedom FESD. His confident expression cracked instantly. This was not the reaction he had planned for. He shoved through the crowd, grabbed my wrist, and shouted, "What is this? What did you do?" The room went silent and turned to watch. I smiled calmly and spoke just loud enough for everyone to hear. "It's a party, Daniel. You said we should slow down. This is what slowing down looks like." He yelled back. "I never canceled it. I said we should pause." I answered. "You tried to play games with me and my family a week before our wedding. You held our future hostage to get out of a contract you already agreed to. I don't negotiate with emotional manipulation, so I took your advice. We're done. Since everything was already paid for, I decided to celebrate my escape instead. Thank you. This party is for you." I raised my glass. "To Daniel for giving me the best reason I've ever had to throw a party, and to freedom." The crowd erupted in cheers. Daniel stood there, humiliated, surrounded by 200 people who now knew exactly what he'd tried to pull. His face went red. He shouted something incoherent, turned, and shoved his way toward the exit while the DJ smoothly cut into, "I will survive." The crowd laughed and danced even harder. The whole plan worked flawlessly. In the days that followed, Daniel tried reaching out to smooth things over. I ignored every message. My friends and family rallied around me more than I ever expected, and the party quickly became local legend. People still bring it up as one of the boldest things they've ever witnessed. Daniel's family hired a lawyer demanding I reimburse wedding-related costs. His suit, his groomsman's attire, hotel deposits for his side of the family. My attorney, the same one who drafted the prenup, laughed the letter off her desk and sent back a short, sharp response. Daniel attempted to alter the terms of the marriage a week before it happened, breaching the agreement, which meant neither he nor his family were entitled to a refund of anything. I had covered over 90% of the wedding costs myself. If they pursued legal action, I would countersue for emotional and financial damages. Daniel then launched a social media campaign painting me as a cruel woman who publicly humiliated him over normal pre-wedding nerves. It backfired instantly because 200 people had witnessed the actual party and heard my side directly from me. Friends and family flooded the comments correcting his narrative in real time. His own cousin wrote, "That's not what happened, Daniel. You're the one who wanted to slow down." A college friend added, "The party was amazing. Stop lying." His victim narrative fell apart in front of everyone, live, in the comments. He deleted every post and went silent online. The last thing left to handle was the gifts. Dozens had already arrived before the wedding date. My sister and a few close friends helped me log every single one. We returned what we could to the senders with polite notes explaining the wedding had been called off. Anything that couldn't be returned was donated to charity in the giver's name, and I mailed out donation receipts personally. I wanted a completely clean start for the next chapter of my life. 6 months later, I'm calmer, happier, and more honest with myself than I've been in years. I don't think of Daniel with anger anymore. I think of him as a project that failed spectacularly, and I think of that night as the moment I stopped being anyone's assistant and started being the architect of my own life. My revenge was never about hatred. It was about control. I took a trap that was built for me and turned it into my own celebration of freedom.